Hi guys, today we want to look at inverse variation. What does inverse variation mean? Let's say two quantities. If we say A and B are inversely proportional to each other, it simply means that as A increases, B decreases, or as A decreases, B increases. So that's what we mean when we say they are inversely proportional. So the question we have here says if X is inversely proportional to Y, and x equals to 2.5 when y equals to 2. Find number one, x when y equals 4 and y when x equals 2. So we would say, first of all, x is inversely proportional to y means x inversely proportional to y. So you see the difference between this and the direct variation is that you write this as a reciprocal. So inversely proportional to y. Then remember we said in the previous video that you need to take off the proportionality sign, and when you take it off you introduce what we call constant of proportionality. So this now becomes x equals k over y. Now we go back to the question to get those terms. They say x equals to 2.5 when y equals to 2. So x equals 2.5 when y equals to 2. So I'm not going to be able to do anything with 2.5. So I simply need to change it to either a decimal number or make an improper fraction. So I'm going to change it to an improper fraction. So this is going to give me 2 times 2, 4 plus 1, 5. So that's 5 over 2 equals to k over 2. Then I'm going to cross multiply. And when I do, I'm going to be getting 2k equal to 5 times 2, and that gives me 10. So I'm going to divide through by the coefficient of k, which is 2. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be left with 5 as my value for k. So k equals to 5. Now that we've gotten the value for k, the next thing to do is to write out the relationship between x and y. Remember, this is it. We need to write out the relationship between x and y. So it simply means that x equals to 5 over y, or xy equals to 5. So this is the relationship between x and y. It's very important you always specify that. So the first part of the question says find x when y equals to 4. So x when y equals to 4. So I'm going to come back to the relationship. We're looking for x, and they told us that y equals to 4. So that is very simple. It simply means that x is 5 over 4. That's the answer. X equals to 5 over 4. That is the answer. Then the next part of the question says find y when x equals to 8. Find y when x equals to 8. X, remember the relationship again, says x equals to 5 over y. So they told us this time that x equals 8, and so we're looking for y. So what do I do to get the value for y? Of course, I can simply cross multiply. Then I'm going to get 8y equals 5. Then I'll divide through by the coefficient of y, which is 8. So my answer is 5 over 8. So that's the value for y, 5 over 8. So quickly, we're going to look at the next question. The next part of the question says u varies inversely to the cube of v. So we're going to write it. U varies inversely to the cube of v. And remember, we said that you would need to always take off the proportionality sign and introduce what we call the constant of proportionality. Yeah, so this is it. Now, the other part of the question says, and u is 81 when v equals to 2. So U is 81 when V equals to 2. So 2 raised to power 3 is a value for V. Now, I'm going to use these terms to get my value for K. Remember, 2 raised to power 3 simply means 2 times 2 times 2, and that's 8. So I'm going to cross multiply. Then I'll get that K equals to 81 times 8. And 81 times 8 simply gives me 648. So it simply means that K is 648. Okay, so that's it. Now we've gotten our value for K. Okay, then the next thing we need to do is to write out the relationship between U and V. So we need to come back to this equation or expression. So write U equals to K. What's K? 648 over V cube. So this is our relationship, or we simply write or U V cube equals to 648. So this in all can be called the relationship between U and V cube. Now the first part of the question proper says find U when V equals to 3. So U when V equals to 3 is simply, remember the relationship, U equals to 648 over V cube. So U when V equals 3 is 648 divided by 3 raised to power 3. What is 3 raised to power 3? 3 raised to power 3 is simply 27. So 648 divided by 27 is simply going to give me 24. So that's the value for U, 24. Then the next part of the question says find V when U equals to 5.184. So you still have to go back to the relationship. U equals to 648 divided by V cube. Now this time we're given U, which is 5.184 equals to 648 divided by V cube. So what do we do next? We just simply cross multiply. So we're going to get 5.184 times V cube equals to 648. And I divide through by 5.184. So this goes off. So I'm going to be left with V cube equals to 648 divided by 5.184 is going to give us 125. 125. Now that I have V cube to be equal to 125, it simply means that I'm going to have to take the cube roots, of both sides, because that's the only way I can take off the cube from V. So the cube root of 125 is simply 5. What do we mean by cube roots? That means this is telling us that 5 is that number for which when it's multiplied 3 times gives us 125. So at the end of the day, V is 5. So that's the final answer. Thank you.